Pokemon games are known for having some scary locations. The Strange House, the Old Chateau, and of course, Pokémon Tower in Lavender Town, just to name a few. As a child though, I was never intimidated by Lavender Town or its music. More than anything, I just found it to be depressing. However, there is one place from the Gen 1 games that truly terrified me for reasons I can't fully explain, and that place is the Pokémon Mansion. Located on Cinnabar Island, Pokémon Mansion is a very mysterious place. Before we enter, we are met with the island's gym being completely locked for seemingly no reason. There's no explanation as to where the key is or how to get in, but given how little there is to do on the island, it doesn't take us long to figure out that we need to explore the Pokémon Mansion in order to find some answers. From the moment you step into this place, you're met with some of the most unsettling music in all of Pokémon, especially considering the contrast to the cheery Cinnabar Island music. When you first arrive on this island, finally reaching land and you're greeted with this music, you feel a great sense of accomplishment, almost like you've arrived at a holiday destination. With this context, walking into Pokémon Mansion and being hit with this cold, jarring tone shift is incredibly off-putting. Wandering down these holes and maneuvering through the rubble and bizarre building layout gave me such a sense of dread. My mind filled with paranoia as though I'm constantly being watched. As a kid, I hated being here. I remember it taking me a long time to progress because I just wanted to be anywhere else but there. But eventually, I had to bite the bullet and wander further in. Pokemon Tower had literal ghosts demanding you to get out, but Pokemon Mansion had something different that made me want to leave. A feeling of emptiness, loneliness, mysteriousness. The unknown. Despite there being scientists doing some tests and burglars looking to loot, the presence of human life feels completely void. The NPCs at Pokemon Tower are there to mourn, but the lack of clear purpose with these NPCs brings a very unsettling feeling of unpredictability and danger. There are rooms in this place with seemingly no purpose. Complete dead ends that only add to the eeriness. Being an abandoned mansion, there are large, empty rooms that make you feel very small. As far as I can recall, there really aren't any rooms like this in the Pokemon games. I tend to hug the walls during these parts in an attempt to withhold some sort of navigation, all the while being riddled with anxiety, praying I don't get lost. There are journals laying open throughout the mansion, recalling the events of two mysterious Pokemon, Mewtwo and Mew. The specific mentioning of Mew is something I always found to be particularly mysterious, considering that outside of glitches, Mew is completely unobtainable. It created a sense of awe and atmosphere that, to this day, is unmatched in any Pokemon game. One of the journal entries mentions that Mew gave birth to Mewtwo. According to Wikipedia, Mewtwo is the result of genetic recombination of Mew's DNA that was born from Mew. While most Pokemon are hatched from eggs, Mewtwo is the only Pokemon that was born. Now, I'm no expert on this topic, but when I think about cloning, I don't typically think about the process of birth being involved. So it's a little odd that they specifically mention Mew giving birth. Even more disturbing information about this place can be traced back to a fan theory relating to Mew and Ditto, another mysterious Pokemon that can be found in Pokemon Mansion. The theory goes that Ditto are failed clones of Mew, and the evidence pointing towards this are in Mew and Ditto's striking similarities. Both are pink in color with blue as their shiny color. They both share a weight of 8.8 pounds. They are both genderless. Their stats are completely leveled across the board, and they are the only Pokemon who can naturally learn Transform, and as a result, can both technically learn any move. The final journal entry reads, Mewtwo is far too powerful. We have failed to curb its vicious tendencies. Very ominous. Even more so, the Japanese text reveals the author to be somewhat more emotional, reading, the Pokemon Mewtwo is far too powerful. It's no use. I cannot control it. Reading through these journal entries, you begin to imagine what happened in this mansion and why it burned down in the first place. It seems the scientists were unable to control Mewtwo's power, and as a result, brought upon destruction and possibly even death. Without specifically saying these things though, the player's mind is left to wonder about these cryptic letters, all the while desperately trying to find a way out, while the unnerving music slowly drives you insane. When you have finally reached the secret key that scientist hints at if you're lucky enough to have battled him and spoken to him after the battle. You feel a sense of relief as this means you can finally leave. So, you can either try to navigate your way back through the cold, open holes, or use an escape rope you hopefully stumbled across in the mansion to get the heck out of there ASAP. As an adult, I know the correct choice, but as a naive kid, I anxiously tried to remember the way back, attempting to solve the puzzle backwards and feeling just as claustrophobic trying to leave as I did venturing deeper. I can't express the relief I felt when leaving that godforsaken place for the first time, knowing I would never enter again except to complete the Pokédex. And even then, I would only dare to go to the first couple of floors and not get myself tangled up in that mess again. Even though it's just a game, I feel like I could actually feel the sunshine from being out in the open on that island after stepping outside. With the now cheery music playing, I could finally continue my journey and put this place behind me. As I mentioned earlier in this video, Pokémon Mansion terrified me for reasons I can't fully explain. There are no ghosts, no ghouls, no scares really of any kind. When you really break it down, there was nothing. But it's that nothingness, the subtlety, the sheer cold emptiness that holds so much weight that leaves the mind to wander and create its own dread, fear, and anxiety. Sometimes the greatest scare isn't found in a ghost demanding you to leave. Sometimes it's found in nothing at all. Coupled with a few mysterious journal entries, some sketchy NPCs, and a repetitive soundtrack that would drive you insane right up until your last step towards the exit, Pokémon Mansion is truly one of the most haunting places in all of Pokémon.